Sissy Spacek stayed true to character. To what cost? She avoided the cast to feel lonely like Carrie. Her trailer has religious and biblical art. She refused stunt doubles and hid in the graveyard for hours. Blood harmed her flesh, fire injured performers, and psychological damage was severe. Her character never wavered. At 75, she finally reveals her journey to become. Sissy Spacek was born in Quitman, Texas, 3 minutes after midnight on Christmas Day, 1949. Her birth felt like a fairy tale. Her father, Edwin, was a county agent for Texas A&M for nearly 30 years. Her mother, Virginia, was English and Irish. Her father had Moravian Czech and Sudeten German background. The name Spacek originates from the Czech word Spacek, meaning star. Slang, cigarette. Her first cousin, Rip Torn, was a famous actor, and her grandpa was a mayor in a small Texas town. She wasn't always Sissy. She was Mary Elizabeth Spacek, but Sissy was her lifelong nickname from her elder brothers. Love inspired the nickname. It followed her from their cozy Texas home to Hollywood. Her identity was formed there. She moved to New York at 17 to sing. Rainbow published a song criticizing John Lennon's nude album cover. The attempt failed. When she dropped the stage name and became Sissy, things changed. Sissy loved performing early on. She sang and danced at her first talent competition at 6. She had a beautiful East Texas childhood. She climbed trees, rode horses, and swam in creeks. She thanked God for her family and birthplace in bed. She didn't want to leave, yet dreams formed. A local cheerleading team inspired her to perform. A Mineola Cinema Theater started the fire. Come Blow Your Horn made her want to jump into it. Her cousin Rip Torn's visit increased her passion. She'd probe his acting knowledge. She was popular, a cheerleader, majorette, and homecoming queen in high school. This smart Texas kid terrified the world on screen, but nobody expected it. She played Carrie White in 1976 horror picture Carrie at 26. An innocent prom queen became telekinetic nightmare. Change was scary. Critics couldn't believe a sweet person could be so forceful on TV. A deeper reason than performing prompted her first Oscar nomination. Sister Sissy lost her brother Robbie to leukemia at 17. He was 18, a track star and performer. She said it defined her life. Her parents brought her to New York to live with Rip Torn and his wife while he was sick. Something changed after she returned to the city feeling hollow after Robbie died. Grief made her fearless. Once you go through that, nothing else scares you, she added. She felt his presence decades later. He's living in my heart. Mother advised her to mourn him and grow. Indeed, she did. That pain fueled her. Still in New York, she wanted to compose music. She published John, You Went Too Far at 19. The lyrics were beautiful but direct. She disliked Lennon's naked photo with Ono. Record didn't chart. Roulette labels dropped her, but she persisted. The Lee Strasberg Institute taught her acting. She extracted emotion from real pain. She was rejected after auditioning at Decca Records. They thought she sounded like Loretta Lynn. She realized the irony years later. Her first major film performance was 1972. Prime cut. She played a young girl sold into sexual slavery. I was shocked. The scenes were graphic. Audiences were confused. Sissy didn't hesitate. She sought important jobs. Around this time, she was a New York artist. Andy Warhol's factory. Experimental film. Boundary-pushing venues. TV series followed slowly. Guest appearances on Love, American Style, The Waltons. She was learning with baby steps. The Badlands followed. It altered everything. She played 15-year-old Holly Sargis, who flees with Martin Sheen's killer. The film roughly followed a 1958 murder spree. At 23, Spacek's voiceover was creepy and poetic. Her performance was peaceful, surreal, and deep. She was nominated for BAFTA. Shocked critics. Spain's top film festival named Martin Sheen Best Actor. Badlands was later included to the U.S. National Film Registry. Terrence Malick trusted her wholeheartedly. The film's emotional weight fell on her, yet she handled it with life experience and innocence coupled with sorrow. She didn't want fame. Being honest was her goal. Honesty defined her profession. Sissy Spacek didn't become Carrie White through a huge audition or lucky break. Initial work was behind the scenes. Her husband, Jack Fisk, was art director for Brian De Palma's low-budget Phantom of the Paradise in 1974. Fisk used space echelon for set decorating. She was bad at it. De Palma joked she was a bad set decorator, but one visit changed everything. It silently immersed her in De Palma's world. De Palma began casting Stephen King's Carrie by early 1976. He initially ignored Spacek, but Fisk persisted. He persuaded De Palma his wife deserved a shot. De Palma reluctantly agreed. He told Spacek to buy and prepare the book. Her life altered with that call. Spacek took the audition very seriously. She changed, not just appeared. She repeatedly read the book, remembering every emotion and pain Carrie felt. So she destroyed a commercial job to be available. She took a risk the night before the audition. She skipped face wash. She skipped brushing. Vaseline made her hair look oily and neglected. She wore a 7th-grade sailor dress her mother made. She even loosed the hem to make it dangle unevenly. She wanted to look like someone strangers avoided. She desired Carrie-like feelings. She thought about a lovely but poor girl from school who wore outdated clothes and was teased. She dug further with that memory. She subsequently admitted, "I was feeling sorry for myself," which was ideal. De Palma also viewed several more actresses. He spotted over 100 chicks. His favorite was Betsy Slade, a quiet performer in our day. When he contacted Spacek, he told her she might not get the job. His advice was to attend her commercial shoot. Spacek nearly failed. Hollywood was also experiencing an unusual event. George Lucas and De Palma cast Carrie and Star Wars simultaneously. The same girls auditioned for both films. Carrie Fisher nearly became Carrie White. In Carrie, Amy Irving played Sue Snell, nearly becoming Princess Leia. Melanie Griffith auditioned. They couldn't match Spacek. No one made Carrie cruel. She made the audience love her, although they feared her. Fisk said the other top contender played Carrie like a bad person. Spacek inspired you to help. Spacek reread the novel the night before her screen exam. She lived it, not just studied it. She read about Carrie's suffering, bullying, strict mother, and powers. Not memorizing lines, she absorbed feeling. She entered the room the next morning with that feeling. De Palma reconsidered after the screen test. Spacek never stopped filming. Living as Carrie was her choice. She assured the cast she would stay away on day one. She liked them, but craved solitude. So she avoided everyone. P.J. Souls, who played a bully, said X's choice made it easy for the others to bully her on camera. They weren't mean. They helped her. Spacek played more than Carrie. She became her. She made a shrine in her trailer. She added religious images and a large illustrated Bible. She examined the paintings of punished, judged, and saved people. These drawings taught her body posture. Spacek reenacted Sinners, being stoned when Carrie felt ashamed or shattered. Not just acting, full absorption. She stayed immersed after the cameras stopped. Her prom outfit was saturated in fake blood. The shoot lasted days. Spacek wanted uniform blood in each take. She begged MGM for a trailer behind the studio. She slept in the dress 3 nights. She dwelt in the blood to match the screen. Everyone was startled by her dedication, but she didn't care. She said, "It matches. Want it to look nice." On set, everybody noticed. As the gym teacher, Betty Buckley claimed Spacek was always nice. Welcomed guests, held her herbal tea, and kept her distance. She never caused a disturbance. She respected the work and people, but stuck to her role. It was going to be another prom scene. However, the 1976 Carrie set incident became one of horror film history's most memorable. The blood-soaked scene of Sissy Spacek, frozen in astonishment and bathed in scarlet, took 2 weeks to film. The team did 35 takes, make everything right. The blood spill took 1 or 2 tries, depending on Brian De Palma or Spacek, but the entire sequence was a technical and emotional marathon. Split screen, old-school effects, and no CGI were used. The gym staff lit the set on fire during turmoil. Not everything was under control. Thomas Ross actor William Catt recalls the assistant director panicking and shouting to run. But De Palma kept shouting and rolling. Sister Spacek lived the terror, not just acted it. She wore that bloody dress for 3 days. Sleeping and sitting in it, she let the sticky mixture harden on her flesh. She wanted to feel Carrie's trap, humiliation, suffocation. Of course the blood was fake. For optimal flow, corn syrup, food coloring, and water were heated to 98 degrees Fahrenheit. However, the hot studio lights dried it quickly. It adhered to her skin like glue and pulled as it hardened. In 30 minutes, it crusted. Her arms stuck to her body. The crew followed her with spray bottles to keep the blood wet so she could move. By day 3, sugar, sweat, and heat smelled nauseating, yet she never broke character. Gym fires were worse. Heated blood caramelized on her flesh. She could walk when makeup artists chipped it off her elbows. Even her hair stiffened. Crew workers combed it strand by strand since it wouldn't move. Her hair seemed plastic in one shot due to syrup solidification. The most surreal part? She stated the blood fell on her like a soft blanket. That feeling faded. Within minutes, her skin cracked and hurt. Her arms adhered to her torso whenever they touched. No one could clean up blood between takes. The spatter was unreplicable. The blood wasn't machine-made. Her spouse poured it from above. Jack Fisk, the film's art director and her new husband, scaled a ladder and dropped 3 gallons of the thick crimson goo on her head. It was odd and personal. He helped her get the job. She wasn't meant to be cast. De Palma only let her audition to please Fisk. He was shocked when Spacek arrived barefaced as Carrie. She was cast immediately, and the bloody scene where wife and husband collided marked both their careers. But the nightmare continued. Spacek rejected a stunt double in Carrie's final graveyard scene when her hand comes out. She wanted to do it herself. Surprised De Palma. She persisted despite his objections. Fisk intervened again. His box contained her, buried her in pumice. She waited in the box in darkness for hours. She raised her hand through the stones when it was time. Sharp rocks repeatedly cut her fingers. They bled, yet she continued without protest. Early in filming, Spacek stayed to herself. She examined stoned artwork, read grim Bible passages, and avoided the cast. She wanted to stay the lonely, awkward, secluded character. It works. That anxiety permeated every frame. Even other performers felt it. Nancy Allen, who played bad girl Chris, remembered Carrie's shower bullying. She described it as ritualistic. A frenzy was needed. "I remember shaking," she said. "It disturbed me greatly. Actresses weren't only cruel, they sensed it. Now that scene's cruelty felt real, and some agony was real." PJ Souls, the red baseball cap girl, was hit by a fire hose during the prom massacre. De Palma wants full force. The fire marshal warned about danger. Souls' ear was impacted directly. Her eardrum ruptured. Her ear was deaf for 6 months. The final cut shows her wince. Slide down bleachers. They took her to hospital. De Palma kept the footage. Others suffered. Rib fractures, bruises, real injuries, all made the screen. A tiny horror picture become harsh, gorgeous, and unforgettable. Critics noted, Pauline Kael termed Spacek's performance chameleon-like. She went from feeble girl to dazzling beauty to terrifying avenger. Her face aged before your eyes. Spacek got her first Oscar nomination for that role. It made her famous and proved that horror doesn't need CGI. It takes dedication, sweat, and fake blood. Many doubted Sissy Spacek's casting as Loretta Lynn in Coal Miner's Daughter. She was 30 and played a 13 to middle-aged character. She looked nothing like Loretta. Hazel eyes, pale freckles, and reddish-blonde hair characterized Spacek. Loretta had thick brown hair, porcelain skin, and gray eyes. None of that mattered. Loretta Lynn chose Sissy. She was browsing photos when she stopped at Spacek. That's her. She identified her as the coal miner's daughter. One of film history's greatest shifts followed. Sissy did more than dress. Teenage shyness characterized her movements. The daughter who raised her siblings indicated her anguish by lowering her head and hunching her back. Sissy got taller as the film progressed. Sharpened eyes, her voice improved. It went beyond makeup. She became Loretta. Film critic Roger Ebert was shocked. He stated Spacek could portray any age and make you believe it every time. But that was just the start. Most expected her to lip-sync when singing. After all, Loretta Lynn's voice is unique. However, director Michael Apted ordered her to sing every note and song on sight. That choice changed everything. Spacek studied Loretta-style singing. The soundtrack featuring her vocals entered Billboard Top 40. Going gold. She reached number 2 on the country chart with Coal Miner's Daughter. A Grammy nomination came her way. Critics couldn't tell Loretta and Spacek sang differently. It wasn't just sound. She conveyed every lyric's agony, joy, and grit, raw and honest. Her honesty got her to Oscar night, March 31, 1981. Hoffman opened the letter and named her. Sissy Spacek, Best Actress, stood overwhelmed and thanked everyone. Because Loretta Lynn was in the crowd seeing her life on film, the moment became iconic, even stranger. The actual Jake LaMotta was there when Robert De Niro won Best Actor for Raging Bull. Only 14 actresses have won the Oscar and Golden Globe for the same performance, including Spacek. It received 7 nominations, including Best Picture. The Library of Congress preserved it nearly 40 years later,